What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss everything going on here in our country that you need to know about here on a daily basis. And we're almost ready for 2023, and there's a lot going on here already here today. The stock market ready to ring in the New Year's, people's pensions, 401ks, and IRAs. Ready to forget. You can see here stocks fall in final trading session as Wall Street wraps up the worst year since 2008. Yeah, the S&P 500 about down 20% or a little bit less than 20% here for the year. Yeah, not a good year here. So we'll have to see what it finishes at, but you can see here the Dow Jones Index started the year at 36,500. Now it's at 33,000. So we'll have to see what it finishes at. The S&P 500 year to date started at 4,000, about 4,800. Now it's at 3,800. Yeah, here. So pretty significant decline. So I think it's a little bit less than 20% here. Now last year the S&P 500, this is a 5-year chart. Last year the S&P 500 was up 27%. So it's pretty much negated all the gains from last year. I know that the 27% last year, it's not really the way the percentages work, it's kind of it's not an equal gain to loss there. But this is a 5-year chart. So 5-year chart, we're still up pretty significantly. So 5 years ago, the S&P 500 was at 2,700. Now we're at 3,800. So still a pretty significant gain over the course of 5 years here. Or the Dow Jones Index over 5 years was at 25,000. Now we're at 33,000. So still pretty significant. But if you're looking to add in new money going into the new year for your IRA or your 401k or something like that, it's probably a pretty good time to add in money as long as we don't see a nuclear war. As long as we don't see a nuclear war, because we know that markets don't stay down forever. In fact, inflation's kind of coming down a little bit. Our last couple inflation readings have been lower. Remember the Social Security raise is at 8.7%. And the last inflation reading, it was at 7.1%. We know that gas has come down a lot here. So gas has come down here. We're seeing mortgage prices come down and car prices come down, but interest rates are up significantly. So that's kind of negated that. So it's a little bit misleading there, or maybe a lot misleading there. The thing we're not seeing come down is food prices. And I don't know if we're going to see food prices come down here because it's a tough one to see. You can let me know your thoughts on that. Do you think we're going to see food prices come down? Yeah, that's going to be a tough one. I think that food prices, it may be a new norm to see those food prices kind of stick somewhere near where they are. We might see them come down a little bit, but I don't know if we're going to see that come down a lot. That's a tough one there. But if you're working or contributing to an IRA, a 401k, or a pension, or a savings or something like that, now's probably a pretty decent time with the market being down about 20%. Remember, typically you want to invest when it's low and not when it's high. I mean, of course, everybody's a little bit different. But as long as we don't have a nuclear war, it's you buy low, you sell high. It's a pretty decent time to invest. I'm going to be putting new money in here in the new year. Today's the last trading day here, so typically you can put new money in at the beginning of the year for your retirement accounts, and you have new money to fill that up here for the new bucket. The new bucket, yeah, that's what I call it, the buckets. You you have your different buckets that you can fill up here for your retirement accounts. And it's a really good time to do that because, it's better to invest when the market's low than when the market's at all-time highs. Because typically when the market's at all-time highs, you're investing at a high point than a low point. Like, for example, here, like Tesla stock is down 70% ish, somewhere in that range year to date. That's a scary one. I actually own some Tesla stock. That thing is in free fall. Wow, it's kind of scary. I do believe in Tesla stock over the long run because I think that you'll just see all these car manufacturers just going EV, EV, EV. So and with the price of gas just going up, 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 up over time, I think that, and the cost of EVs being cheaper to charge, I just see the trend there. But Elon Musk has bought Twitter and spent $44 billion there, and he's really scared a lot of Tesla investors and kind of sent Tesla into a free fall. It's actually in the top 5 worst performing S&P 500 stocks for the year, down around 70% year to date. Hasn't been good for Tesla investors. But if you own the index, if you own the stock index, which is just basically like the S&P 500, where you own a share of every single stock, that one particular stock doesn't hurt you that much. You own the stocks that are up 70% and the stocks that are down 70%, and everything kind of balances out. Yeah, so let me know your thoughts here on this. But generally, if you invest here at the low point and then it goes back up back to normal here next year, you'd have a pretty significant gain. And remember, over the course of the long run, if this is for your retirement accounts or something like that, things gradually tend to go up here over the long term. So let me know your thoughts here on this. We'll see where they end, where it ends here at the end of the year. So, former President Donald Trump's tax returns were released today. Sheds new light on former President Trump's finances. The House Ways and Means Committee panel releases 6 years of his personal and business tax returns, as they're saying that a former president, and when he was the actual president of the United States, that this needed to be released. And here's a little bit more insight. Take a listen.
Kristen, walk us through what we're learning from these tax returns. Again, the caveat being they just came out an hour ago, and there's a lot of data here, and also how the former president is responding.
So, as you said, we have a team combing through literally hundreds and hundreds of pages. But what we've been able to confirm so far is that Trump paid a very low amount of income tax in his first and last year of the presidency. We're talking about 2017, he only paid $750. 2018 and 19, it was combined $1.1 million in income tax. And 2020, it was $0. Now, that $0 is important, and here's why. What we hope that these tax returns will show is not just the raw data of the numbers, but it's actually looking at the detailed documents that were provided to give us some sort of insight into his businesses. Are they really as successful as he has said? And I talked to a number of tax experts who say that $0, that indicates that there might have been some faltering business. Is it really just strategic accounting, which we know Trump has boasted about for years? He even said in 2016 that it was smart not to pay taxes when he was talking with Hillary Clinton about why he wouldn't release them. But is it actually business losses, which is important when you think about the political ramifications of a man who ran on the fact that he was a wealthy and therefore successful businessman. And of course, Trump is agitated about this release. He has already issued a statement. He said Democrats shouldn't have done this. And he went on to say the great USA divide will now grow far worse. The radical left Democrats have weaponized everything. But remember that this is a dangerous two-way street. And he released a video last week as part of his 2024 campaign, essentially calling on Republicans to start looking into Biden's finances and to Biden's family. So that's what he's referring to there when he talks about a two-way street.
And of course, the GOP is taking over the House in mere days. They're going to have a lot of oversight. We also know that House Ways and Means Chairman Richard Neal put out a statement this morning after this came out. What did he say? Of course, he's the Democrat.
Right. And he said, Congress serves as a check on the executive branch, and our committee is entrusted with oversight of our revenue system. A president is no ordinary taxpayer. They hold power and influence unlike any other American. And with great power comes greater responsibility. And of course, the important thing to note here is that Trump set an enormous amount, he broke an enormous amount of precedent when he was running for president and then was president. He became the first president in modern history not to release his taxes. This was something he chose to do. And on top of that, this is something that for decades he has shielded from the public. And one other thing I want to quickly touch on that we're looking for here is foreign entities and bank accounts. That's something we're going through these additional documents for. Does he have foreign bank accounts? Are there any foreign-owned businesses? The reason that's important is because you remember this was a big topic of conversation during his entire presidency. So that is something we're going to be looking at closely as we go through these hundreds of pages.
Right.
So we'll see what is uncovered here in the next few days. Former President Donald Trump also actually announced personally himself here. I'll show you here on the screen. You can see here the Trump family signs deal with the Saudi real estate developers behind a $1.6 billion hotel and golf resort deal in Oman. Just ahead of former president's big announcement at Mar-a-Lago here. This was a few weeks ago or previously here. The question here is, or one of the questions is that if he has foreign bank accounts with money that maybe wasn't reported or something along those lines. But former President Donald Trump actually made this announcement that he was signing a $1.6 billion deal with Saudi Arabia real estate developers. So, you can look the story up. He actually announced it and told the world about this. So, we're going to see, some people are saying, that we shouldn't know about a president's finances, but every other president has released their finances and their tax returns so that the American public knows what's going on. I had some questions about this saying, well, how can I look up Obama's or Biden's or Bush's or any of the president's recent tax returns? You can go to Google and just Google it. So for example, if you want to look up, I'll show you here. So you can go to Google and you can type in Joe Biden's tax returns. You can do this. And so right here on the very first result here is Joe Biden's tax returns. Of course, you have to get past this donation page. But yeah, here is his tax returns. Okay. So you can go 2020. It downloads here, and you can actually look at Joe Biden's tax returns. So yeah, here they are. So, and I'm sure you can look this up for other past presidents' tax returns. They have all willingly released them. You can see his Mass Mutual Bank loans, Ocean First Bank loans, and other Republicans and Democrats. So everybody since Nixon has kind of willingly released these in terms of transparency with their bank accounts, the amount of cash in there, and they're supposed to get audited from the IRS. But the breakdown in the system was that the IRS did not audit former President Donald Trump. It even has his retirement amounts in here and everything, how much he made from his books and everything along those lines. Presidents typically make a lot of money once they're out of office because they do speaking engagements and books like that after they're presidents. Yeah. And that's where, like Obama has, really wasn't a wealthy man at all before president. And, now they're pretty wealthy. Typically happens to every president afterwards if they're not wealthy beforehand. They just make a lot of money for speaking engagements, and, they put out a book and it just goes crazy after you're president. Typically happens to any president. Of course, Trump was considered a billionaire before he was president, and now, the amount of donations he gets is just, unbelievable. He just, takes in hundreds of millions of dollars in donations. Um, yeah, so that's not even on his personal tax returns. That's not even included there. That's through the campaign stuff. So when we're talking about Trump's personal tax returns, that's not in there. That's through the campaign stuff in there. So that's completely separate. So you guys can let me know your thoughts here on this. But this is why the transparency is there, because people want to know, and this relates kind of back to like Nixon and stuff, where he said, "I'm not a crook." And then it kind of found out that I don't know, I don't want to, say anything here, but a lot of people thought that, well, what he said wasn't truthful. You guys can let me know your thoughts on that. But so this is kind of the question here. And people, some people are saying we should know his personal tax returns, but when you're the president of the United States, people want to know if the president is truthful, and then they're supposed to be audited by the IRS, whether you're a Republican, whether you're Democrat, whether you're Biden, Clinton, Trump, Bush, any of them. You're supposed to be audited, and they're supposed to go. The IRS is supposed to go through all your bank accounts, look at all the cash you take in, all the deposits you take in, and everything, so that the public knows if you're being truthful with all the money that you handle, every dollar, no matter where it comes from. So this is the whole, and then we know that the IRS didn't audit him. So this is where the breakdown of the system happened, and this is why it's become such a big deal. And then we know that Trump didn't want to release his tax returns for all these years, and now we kind of know why. And then now the question, one of the questions is why didn't the IRS audit him when they were supposed to? The IRS is supposed to audit a sitting president every single year when the president is president. This is a rule, this is a regulation, and it didn't happen. And that's a serious question on if the IRS is supposed to audit a sitting president every year when they're president. Why didn't it happen? And how did this happen? And who's responsible for this? And how do we prevent this in the future? No matter who's the president, whether it's a Democratic president, a Republican president, an independent president, if that ever happens, it needs to happen so that the president is audited every year, so that we know that the president is doing everything above books legally, and that the president's not a crook, no matter who the president is. You guys let me know your thoughts on this. So I'll keep you up to date here with everything going on here in our country on a daily basis. If you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe down below to our YouTube channel. It's completely free to do so. New videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're also going to have giveaways here for New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, and more going forward here in the new year. So happy early New Year's, and I'll keep you up to date here. You can click here to watch my newest video next, and you can click here to see my newest Social Security update, which is a good one. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.